Shares and debentures. In this module, we will learn about the concept of shares and debentures. There are scenarios in the business cycle wherein the company needs funds for further growth and expansion. Such funds can be raised through issue of shares or debentures. Let us study about them in details. The money raised through issue of shares is known as share capital. Share capital is formed by the indivisible units known as shares, and the persons who hold these shares are termed as shareholders. A company generally issues two types of shares: equity shares and preference shares. Let us now study about the equity shares. The holders of equity shares are known as equity shareholders, and the funds raised through issue of equity shares are known as owners' funds or ownership capital. It is because of the fact that the equity shareholders have the right to participate in the management of the company and are considered as the owners of the business. The return that the company pays to the equity shareholders on their investment in the business is called dividend. The rate of dividend on equity shares is not fixed and is paid to them only if the company has sufficient profits after making payments to the outsiders. The liability of equity shareholders is limited to the extent of their capital contribution, and they get their money back only in case of the winding up of the company. Equity shares are suitable for those who believe in high risk, high returns. Let us now study about the preference shares. The money raised by issue of preference shares is known as preference share capital. Those who hold the preference shares of the company are known as preference shareholders. As the name suggests, the preference shareholders enjoy certain preferential rights, like they get a fixed rate of dividend out of the net profits of the company before anything is paid to the equity shareholders, and they receive their capital after the claim of creditors are settled by the company. But preference shareholders do not enjoy the voting rights as in the case of equity shareholders. These shares are suitable for those who want a say and fixed income on their investments. Various kinds of preference shares that a company may issue are cumulative and non-cumulative preference shares, participating and non-participating preference shares, convertible and non-convertible preference shares. Let us study about them in details. If in a year the net profits of the company are not sufficient, it does not pay dividend to the preference shareholders. In certain cases, the dividend is accumulated, and the company pays the accumulated dividend to the shareholders in future years. The shares which have the right to receive accumulated unpaid dividends are called cumulative preference shares, and those who do not enjoy such rights are known as non-cumulative preference shares. Sometimes, the company gives the right to preference shareholders to participate in the profits of the company after equity shareholders are paid a certain rate of dividend. These preference shares that carry these rights are called participating preference shares, and those which do not are called non-participating preference shares. Preference shares which can be converted into equity shares after a certain period of time are known as convertible preference shares, and those which cannot be converted into equity shares are called non-convertible preference shares. It is important to note that apart from equity and preference shares, another source of fund which takes care of long-term requirements of the company is debentures. Debenture is a kind of loan to the company for a specific period of time, and that bears a fixed rate of interest. It is issued usually by large and financially strong companies which enjoy excellent credit ratings. Those who hold the debentures of company are called debenture holders. They are also called creditors of the company. Debenture holders do not have any voting rights, and they do not participate in the profits of the company. Debentures are suitable for those investors who are willing to have fixed income at low risk. Following types of debentures can be issued by the company. They are secured and unsecured debentures, registered and bearer debentures, convertible and non-convertible debentures, first and second debentures, zero-interest debentures. Let us study about them in details. Those debentures which create a charge on the assets of the company are secured debentures, and those which do not create any such charge are called unsecured debentures. The debentures which are duly recorded in the register of the company and cannot be transferred merely by delivery are called registered debentures, and those which can be transferred by mere delivery are called bearer debentures. The debentures which can be converted into certain other kind of security after the expiry of a specific period of time are called convertible debentures, and the debentures which do not have any such feature are non-convertible debentures. The debentures which are repaid first are called first debentures, and those which are paid after the first debentures have been paid off are known as second debentures. Zero-interest debentures or zero-coupon debentures are issued at a discounted price and repaid at its face value. They do not carry any interest. The debenture holders of such category of debentures receive the full face value after the expiry of a specific period. The difference between the purchase price and the redeemed value is the income of the debenture holder.